Hello, Martin.
Hello, hello. All right, let's see. I think let's see. Max is not going to be here today. No, Michael's not going to be here today. Waiting on Max and potentially Aaron as well. Maybe Orion. We'll see. Hi, Dex. If we've met before.
Hi. I saw your talk at the local FirstConf. I was there. I don't think so. We talked. Uh,
Okay, gotcha.
it was lovely. I was inspired by the talk to come in one of the meetings. I'm
Cool.
going to try to work on a remarkable like tablet. Do you know about the remarkable tablet?
Yeah, I've got one right here. Um,
Oh,
right.
lovely.
Yeah, I've been a remarkable user for quite a while. Um, Big fan. Yeah.
Yeah,
What were
I'd like
you
to
What were
be
you
able to
planning on working on?
sync. Yeah, I was hoping to be able to sync the remarkable format to the OSIF format, basically.
Oh, that would be
Um,
brilliant. Yeah.
yeah, somebody actually managed. It's like it's not my project. Somebody else actually started it, and he's working on trying to sync it with OneNote. So
Uh-huh.
I was hoping that I could like try to sync it with the OSIF format. I
Yep.
could just sync it to my sync it to ClearDraw and sync it to my PC. I mean, that would be really nice. This person, he doesn't know a lot about the sync stuff, but he has
Hmm.
managed to implement like a translation layer to translate to the OneNote format. So yeah, to me, it's a really interesting project. It's at a very early stage, so that's
Very
why
cool.
I thought I might join.
Fantastic. Well, if you end up keeping going down that path, I would be happy to be a test user.
Oh,
I
lovely.
use I use my Remarkable every day and have for several years now. It's been really a great device for me.
That's
Um,
amazing. Um,
yeah.
and besides
Hey,
that, I'm
Max.
working on
Hey,
CRDTs. Yeah.
What were you saying, Dex?
Besides that, I was working on CRDTs. I'm trying to implement the
Mm,
fastest list CRDT implementation. Basically, do you know the EG Walker paper? Are you aware
hmm
about that?
I
Yeah,
haven't
I'm
read
trying
it, but I
to.
know Joseph
Yeah,
Gentle's
I'm
paper
trying to.
on it.
Yeah. I'm trying to like make it better. Basically, set gentle spot, try to
Hmm.
improve on the implementation. Yeah, and a lot of people talk to a lot of people, Michael Timian, Subgentle, Martin Klipperman. They seem to be very excited about the prospects of
Yeah.
it. Still a work in development, so yeah, that's about it.
Very cool. Are you hoping to wrap that up in a library, or would that be more like an academic publication of like, here's how to optimize the algorithm?
I'm
Where do
not
you think
entirely
that might go?
sure, but
Hmm.
I'm not like both of them are kind of on the table. But I'm thinking of for the moment just working on the research aspect because it seems the most accessible one, and
Hmm.
just focus on publishing it, and then we'll see
Right.
like how what the future holds. A lot of like exciting stuff I can do with it. So.
Yeah. Yeah. I think a lot of people are, yeah, there's a lot of research in that area, and a lot of people I'm sure, could learn from whatever it is that you publish in that area. I don't know, are there any libraries that implement E.G. Walker that would potentially directly benefit from that? So,
I would say like it's an improved version of EJ Walker. So eventually,
mhm.
I assume that most implementation would probably translate like they would probably just go to the new algorithm because it's significantly simpler and much more efficient. But I don't
Mhm.
know like how many libraries would do that because it's a huge. It's pretty expensive to like rewrite the whole code base. So yeah,
Yeah,
I don't know what
gotcha.
the future
That
would
makes
be
sense.
like because it's pretty expensive to like rewrite everything.
Yeah,
Um,
yeah.
yeah,
Getting less expensive every day, though, by the way. Um,
yeah.
Hey, Max. Good to see you.
hey,
Uh,
same.
I
I guess
might.
you have been talking about this E.G. Walker stuff and related CRDT. I think I saw it on Hacker News once as one of the most advanced things in that area, but I'm not an expert on CRDT stuff.
Mhm.
Yeah, it's kind of amazing what Subtitle did with the E.G. Walker. And initially, I wasn't sold on it because he did talk about the E.G. Walker algorithm for a long period of time, but he didn't publish it until like 2 years or something later, like once he implemented it. So, like I remember Loro implemented the EG Walker algorithm before the paper was published or the draft was even made. So
Ah,
Loro, like the engineer, the Loro developer, they reverse engineered the EG Walker algorithm based on just the code base of like diamond types, and that was insane to me.
That's
I mean,
impressive. Yeah,
yeah, it
I
is
was familiar
extremely
with.
impressive.
Yeah, I was familiar with Loro, and I was curious if you were. So yeah, you've seen that as well. Sounds like you're pretty up to date on those things. Max, right before you joined, Dex was saying that he's curious about working on a sync layer between the Remarkable format and OCIF. There's another project where someone is working on syncing between the Remarkable format and OneNote,
Yeah,
creating a translation layer there, and it seems anytime my brain is so like interop format pilled now that anytime I hear about somebody converting between two formats, I'm like, convert to convert to an interop format in the middle, and then we could just do it one. We can write it. We can get all these things for free. Why would you? Don't go
that was
directly to
exactly my
another
thought.
format. Why would you do that?
That was
So,
exactly my thought process. Like I was like,
OneNote.
hey, OKF would be perfect for this. And like, yeah,
so
yeah,
absolutely. And I think especially in the remarkable space, OneNote, Visio, like there's a lot of tools that are used by remarkable users because they tend to be more farther away from being developers and closer to being business people or an enterprise or that kind of stuff. That would be very interesting. It would be very interesting for remarkable users to have those sort of exports and synchronizations. Um, so
absolutely. Like a lot of people are interested in this. It was something I wanted to do myself, but somebody else already started a project. So it's like, I'm gonna help this
jump on
person.
that. Yeah,
Yeah, basically.
absolutely. Well, as of last week, there is actually I need and I my proposal for today in terms of stuff to work on was or to look at if we didn't have anything else was just spend time looking at the OCIF library um, that Michael put together and then kind of thinking about what next steps might be for that library. But Max, I don't know if you have anything else on your plate for thinking for today.
We could briefly talk about the themes idea,
Mm,
whether we have new remarks on that or not. I
gotcha.
don't.
I was going to say I definitely don't. Um, let's
It's
see.
By the way, this
Well,
is
I mean,
a
well,
different Michael from Michael Tumian. He's different, right?
different. Yeah, yeah. It's
Mhm.
Maikel. Dev helper is his nickname or like
Oh, perfect.
GitHub.
Yeah,
I dropped his thing in the document or in the chat in Zoom.
yeah.
Um, but yeah, he has been he works on a tool called, oh my gosh, Node. What is it called? Node Canvas? What is it?
no, no, no.
That's not right.
Something with flow in the name. Code
Yeah,
flow. It was code
code.
flow,
Yeah,
right?
that's it. I'm looking for the
Code
link
Flow
real quick.
Canvas.
Yep,
It's on his
CodeFlow Canvas.
GitHub.
Yeah.
There we go. Yeah, so he works on CodeFlow Canvas and has implemented the some of the more recent OCIF stuff in export and import in CodeFlow. And he has most recently been working on some libraries that would where we could, if you were writing, for example, a remarkable to OCIF and OCIF to remarkable translation layer, you could put it in this library and then it would be available generally to people who are downloading the library. So we're working on getting that kind of tooling set up to where there's sort of one central place that you can go, one tool chain that allows you to convert back and forth between OCIF and lots of different things. But it's
Oh,
pretty nascent at this point.
that would be the OKF level, right?
The OCIF lib, you got it. Yep. Um, Max, what were you just saying? Themes? No. Oh, I know it. I know. What we should probably spend time on is talking about 0.5. And just like we have things in 0.5 that are close to being ready for release. We should figure out if there's things that we should wrap up and go ahead and release a 0.5, or whether we should pause until some of the things that are in it settle a little more. You want to start there?
Yeah, isn't so why do we call it 0.51 draft, not 5.0 draft? Hmm.
Great question. That's a good question. Why didn't you make the branch?
Yeah, but why? But no,
Can
0.5
you?
is out already, right?
Oh, okay. Yeah, you're right. You're right. Sorry.
That's why.
0.5.1.
Yeah. Okay, then I'm back on the same page.
Okay,
Um,
perfect. Oh yeah, there's some out of date links here. I need to.
Can we have stuff in the spec that's experimental and labeled as such and say this is an unstable feature, but we pre-publish it already, and if it's good, we keep it. Blah blah blah.
Yeah,
Many specs do that, right?
yeah, and especially at the stage that we're at, where we're seeking implementation feedback, and it's not a final version. So expect there to be churn. That seems very reasonable.
By the way, in the implementation aspects, there was something written about, interchangeable like sync stuff you guys are not entirely certain about. Maybe I
Mm-hmm.
could help in it. I was wondering because I'm working on like the CRDT aspects, right? So I was wondering,
Very
just
cool. Yeah. There was you might have seen it in discussions. I was actually a discussion posted by Capano from Obsidian.
Yeah. So currently don't have our own sync story at all. I mean, so far it's really designed more or less as an import-export format. You do it once, fine. And then other people created these prototypes where they do near real-time sync via a JSON CRDT on the OK format, and it even works. So that was
okay.
never in the design.
Is it like are you just planning on putting it in the design, the sync aspects, or is this something that you are thinking? What's expectation for that?
Yeah, the issue that I linked you to kind of I think is still our current thinking on it. The idea is
Okay.
that OCIF would be first and foremost a format that enables two-way interchange, but not full interop between each tool. But there is definitely, yeah, getting to interop between tools would be a neat step two, but we have not thought through how that would actually work. Like Max just mentioned, some people are throwing it in a JSON CRDT and it's just working,
Wow.
which is
Yeah.
great. But certainly it could use some actual design. And if some of those design considerations flowed back into the spec itself, we wouldn't be opposed to those changes. It's just our first target has been thinking of this more like a container for a container file format that you could use to transport, yeah, between different programs, not necessarily have it be the internal memory representation or have it be something that you synchronize to and interactively. But clearly there's a lot of
Yeah,
interest in that in the community, a lot of interest.
lovely. I'd love to like contribute to this aspect because I've worked on the CRDT aspects. So maybe I could help design some of the interoperability ideas. But yeah, and then let's look into it. I mean, I haven't looked much deep into OCIF and other stuff, so I have to still like deep dive into it. But yeah,
Mm-hmm.
I think so. There's something very interesting to me. This was the thing that sold me on OCIF because I feel like there's a lot of already formats that exist that can sort of exist that you can sync to. Like the OneNote one is technically an open W3C
Hmm.
format, if I recall correctly, something like that.
Mhm.
I haven't looked deeply into it, but um, I'd love for OCIF to be like the format where you can sync between two different toolings. So what I have in mind is that I have a remarkable and then I have TLDraw, and then the OCIF is
Mm-hmm.
the in-between sync. That it just works like you sync to OCIF, and the OCIF format can then sync to TLDraw, and that would be lovely from a user perspective.
Yeah, yeah, absolutely.
There's one nice, interesting design question lurking in between pages. So there are many
Mhm.
formats, Remarkable, Visio, PowerPoint, TLDraw, OneNote. They all have pages, and pages have sort of a canvas on it. And
Yeah.
we nailed the canvas part. We have ideas for the pages part, but we are still a bit weak on the pages side.
Okay.
So
So pages will
initially
be something like trees.
You could think
So
of it
what
as
I,
just separate canvases all in a single file. It's like the way that
yeah,
is the simplest way to think of it. It's like you have canvas one,
Within the
canvas
same,
two, canvas three, canvas four.
so is it like
yeah,
layers? Like, is it a way of thinking about
no,
it as layers?
no, it's more like in
Different.
PowerPoint. You have one slide and then you have a second slide, and they are not related at all.
Yep.
Okay. And it's a
Layers
list,
is
or is it
another
like a tree?
concept. Yeah. Layers is another concept that we don't actually support yet, which
Okay.
is part of the remarkable format.
Yeah.
But could be supported via an extension. Like you
Can
could
be simulated by using groups.
and could be simulated by using groups. Yeah, there's several different things that are built into OCIF that you could probably use. I'd be very curious as you get to the layers portion of the remarkable implementation. Let us know what feels right, and there might be cause to extend the spec to support it, but we don't have. It's not in the core specification. The different layers functionality, and then but yeah, the one that Max mentioned, pages, will need to be something that's more like a top level. It's something we've been discussing the last several meetings, like how to handle it.
Pages
Are pages
seems to,
like a list? I don't quite understand. Are pages like a list of multiple
yeah,
documents, or is it like a tree of multiple documents?
more list, like
A
in
list.
PowerPoint.
Okay.
It's just a list
Okay.
of slides, or in Visio.
Okay.
And yeah,
What's
what
the
is a
main challenge
page?
you're having?
A page is like a canvas in our current model. So
Let's see, this would be, yeah, so this would be canvas one. So in TL draw, for example, you can, let's see, I just came to this one. Oh, I think I need to sign in. Let's see if I remember how this works. They just changed their authentication model at TL draw. Yeah, here we go. Okay. All right, here we go. So up here, I've got like page one. I can add another page, page two. And so this is like the second canvas. These are just two independent canvases that you can switch between. They're not related in any
Yeah.
way. But the way that the OCIF spec works right now, spec.open, or sorry, canvasprotocol.org. Right, space, no, not, but that's okay. Spec, let's see, where's my outline over here? The top level basically defines a single file as having a single set of nodes, a single set of relations, resources, and schemas. And so the assumption is that these are all part of the same canvas.
Yeah.
So yeah, there's no way to say like canvas one, canvas two, canvas three. Canvas one has these nodes, canvas two has these nodes, canvas three has these nodes, that kind of stuff. So yeah, we've been talking about how we might handle that. Max, I think you were going to say something about pages seems like something.
yeah, I still like the idea of being pages are just just nodes in a canvas too. Like in PowerPoint,
Hmm.
if you go to the slide overview, then you
Hmm.
have all these nice little boxes, and it's actually quite cool. I wonder why Teardrop doesn't have that feature where you see your slides visually. I mean, that's just nice. So
They made a slide editor. TLDraw did. I
no,
don't know
but
if it
where
was a
you
prototype or something, but
and can you see all your slides next to each other,
hmm, yeah, they
like
added that
thumbnails?
feature. Yeah, exactly, like thumbnails.
Yeah.
Um, yeah, it's a cool. I don't know. I don't think it properly shipped, but there was like a slides.tldraw.com or something like that that had that feature implemented that lets you see them all. Anyway, but yeah.
Yeah,
Um,
and in that way we could also retrofit and say, yeah, there's just the page extension for a node, and
mhm.
then that's how we can encode page information. And we don't need to change the document structure, but it depends a bit on the direction this pages concept is going to take. Is it more like, yeah, I have 3 pages and page number 4 is imported
Mhm.
from Jazz and is completely different resources, completely different everything?
Right.
Or is it more like, yeah, the pages
We're
do share a lot of
sharing.
stuff together. They
Yeah,
maybe reference the same resources, so it's better to keep them closer together. So I don't feel yet in which direction we need to take it.
agreed. Yeah, I'm kind of in the same place on um, the confusion there.
So my go-to thinking model is PowerPoint, and there it would be rather close together. If you need a completely different slide set, you make a new document. If you have slides sharing the same images, there are different slides on the same slideshow. So if the world is like PowerPoint, then
So how
then
are you
pages
thinking
would
about
be next.
representing it if without changing the document structure, Max? I don't know that I'm following.
You
Is like,
have one root node that
yeah,
says, maybe it doesn't even have to say anything. It's just there and it
right.
contains other nodes. These other nodes contain an extension and say, by the way, I'm like a page. I have a page extension. So then an app can go along and say, hey, what pages do we have in this document? And can show them in page dropdowns, can show them as individual slides or whatever is needed. You can zoom a page full screen. There might be special, and if the Canvas app doesn't know anything about the page extension, well, you just have a tree. And if you are lucky, you have a little layout where one box follows the other ones so that you can actually just visually navigate to the pages.
So root node would be, we already have that notion.
Yeah.
Oh, I don't have my OCWG one.
Yeah, we just would have a new page extension on the nodes. And then it would say, yeah, what is your page number or what is your page title? And I don't know, what else does a page need to play in PowerPoint, in TLDraw, in Visio, in OneNote, in Remarkable?
Yep.
What is a page?
Well, what about nodes? So nodes that are part of, how do nodes indicate which page they're part of? I think that's the part that I'm missing.
Parent child, our usual go-to.
Okay. So that means that every node has
Has
to
a parent.
specify.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah.
I just feel like that could get really verbose, but I guess it's fine.
Could also try to find a more compact syntax for common case.
Yeah, I think that's the thing I'm thinking about. It's like, okay, we have the root node. Also, where does the root node point to?
Point to what?
Root node points to a node. Remember, it's a string that points to a single node within the thing. Does it just point to page one?
No, the canvas points to the root node, and the root node has the ID main or root, call it whatever you like. So you would use one root node is a property of the canvas, and it points to one node ID.
Root node is a property of the canvas. Yep, I got you. And it points to one node ID. Yes.
Yeah.
Agreed.
And in the pages model, we would have one document level root node.
Root
It
node
can be
is,
well, why not? Yeah.
yeah, this is
Name it like this. And it doesn't.
Yeah. So okay.
But
So this is
but
like
it
our
wouldn't go.
nodes,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
Nodes.
Yeah. Okay. If you draw it this way, you need one more node, namely the actual root node.
That's okay. That's what I was trying to get to. Okay, cool.
Yeah.
So reorder, move to back, send to back. All right, let me see.
And then, of course, the root node has children, namely its pages.
Got it. Okay, cool. And we parent-child all those.
Yeah.
All right.
Actually, we parent-child a lot, and maybe we should move it closer to the core model and not as an extension, maybe. Because it's like the document object model from all these other document formats where you always have trees.
Yep. Yep. And then, yeah, then we can have like node one.
And then the usual things apply. Of course, node 2 can be part of page 1 and 2.
Yep.
Why not? In a strict DOM model, it wouldn't be possible, I agree. Right? In HTML, this is not possible that a div belongs to two other divs, but we
Yep.
do allow it. We
I think
just,
it's personally, I think it's a strength of the model that it enables that. But you know, at the
yeah,
cost. So yeah, the thing I'm worried about is like every one of these is going to go in their relations array, right?
yeah,
Which you
currently.
just get a really stuffed relations array. That's why I'm thinking like maybe there's a more direct way to, like you said, shortcut, a syntax shortcut for parent-child. Um, ah, yeah.
So we have
I think if
already
we
in the
were to,
spec, we
Mhm,
have already in the spec that if a node doesn't define a parent node, then
mhm.
implicitly the root node is its parent node.
If the canvas does not define a root node,
No, no,
no, it
no.
doesn't define a parent node.
If the node doesn't define a parent,
Oh,
then
then
that
it,
node has a parent, namely the root node of the canvas. And if the
okay.
canvas didn't define a root node, then we add a synthetic root node. So there is always a root node, and every node has a parent, as a
Okay,
matter of
so
fact.
if
That's
you said in this case the canvas does not define a root node, so there's no root node defined. Um,
that
there's
would be
none of
bad
those.
in the pages model because then we
Very
don't
bad in the
know where
pages
to
model.
start.
Yeah, because there's like a synthetic root node that all of these guys apply to. Because yeah, if you forgot to define, um, oops, it goes the other way around. My arrows are backwards right now. Um, so it's assumed that this is the structure because you didn't define it.
Yeah, because Aaron said for consistency reasons, it's programmatically really nice if you can just always assume there is a root node which defines the parent coordinate system and so on. And
Mm-hmm.
yeah, I
Mm-hmm.
fully agree. That's
Gotcha.
that's just nice. So, but that hints already that we do have a shortcut already for defining parents. So maybe we should extend that thinking. I mean, we could just have a top level node property called parent, stating the parent, that if it's used, that implies
Mhm.
blah, blah, blah. It would, yeah, it would be less separated in extensions, but more compact syntax.
Sorry, I was scribbling.
Yeah.
Can you say that again?
Yeah, if we have a parent property,
Hmm.
then the extension model would be slightly
Yep.
broken because we just have this property on the root node on the node
Yeah.
object. But maybe that's a good price to pay.
Yeah, that's exactly where my brain was going. Was I think we might want to add a parent node um, to node to the node definition, and yeah, it definitely breaks our current model, but um, like you said, might be worth it. So Dex, I'm kind of bringing this up too for you as you're hanging out.
Yeah.
These are the default properties on node: ID, position, size, resource fit, data, rotation, and relation. I guess this is also useful for people who are listening to the recording. The data array is where we store arbitrary node data that relates to different extensions. And so this data bag allows you to extend nodes in all kinds of interesting ways. One of those extensions is currently parent-child, but we're finding that it has a lot of uses, including potentially solving our pages problem, and that it might need to become part of core. Well, there's two levels here. Um, there are extensions that are sort of part of core versus like you have to optionally bring them in. Am I saying that right, Max? How do you say that? That doesn't sound
Uh,
right coming out of my mouth.
Sorry, I wasn't listening, but I just realized we made a mistake because in parent-child, you can only have one parent.
Oh. But why is that a problem? We're back in the
We just,
HTML model where nodes can't be shared across pages.
yeah, exactly.
Okay, gotcha. So we have to decide whether that's a problem or not.
Yeah.
Okay. But yeah, what I was saying was that currently parent-child is specified as an extension,
Yeah.
but I can't, I'm now, is it, uh,
Where to find it?
yeah, they're in extensions. No, I'm thinking about the difference
It's in the
between,
extensions. It's
Core
not in the core
extensions
spec.
and regular extensions.
Yeah, that's another pain point of our work.
Exactly. That's where I was going. As I was saying it out loud, yeah. I mean, technically, you could have multiple parent-child relationships on a single node
Mm, the
between,
parent-child
yeah,
relation models a strict hierarchical relationship between nodes or relations. If
yeah.
we want to model inheritance, it's hard to inherit from multiple parents. If we want to define transforms based on the parent and inherit transforms, it's really hard
Yeah.
to inherit two different coordinate systems simultaneously.
Well, inherit is false by default according to our current spec.
Yeah,
Are you saying when we have inherit true that it has an additional
then it's
limitation
even
that?
worse. But even if we don't inherit properties, then we still set in the transforms extension
Oh
that
yeah.
the parent defines the coordinate system,
Mm-hmm.
uh, regardless of inheritance or not.
Mm-hmm.
The parent is the parent of the transforms. So going forward from there, either there are two different parent-child models.
Mm-hmm.
One is the strict one. For the non-strict parent-child, we once settled on group.
Yep, I remember, and we
And that
collapsed
is,
it.
we
Well, no,
collapsed
we
groups
still
and sets. We
we collapsed.
collapsed groups
Yeah,
and sets, but parent-child and groups are still our
still
two distinct
exist.
things. You have the strict hierarchy in parent-child and the loose hierarchy, or maybe even circular, I don't know. But groups are, yeah, these are really flexible. They just have members. Maybe pages are more like,
Why are they called extensions? I was wondering.
yeah, okay, how can I explain that? So we said we have a basic visual node thing that has as few properties as possible. And then different apps need to attach different sets of properties. Like a 2D modeling app needs to define, I don't know, maybe one extension needs to define background color and a background pattern because that's important in TLDraw. But another app needs
I,
to define the code semantic of inflow and outflow in this node. So completely different things. But some
I feel
property names like type or
the
kind or
parent.
whatever are often reused. So we have different property bags for the different apps. And then,
I
of
get
course,
that.
for interrupt, hmm?
I get that, but like, isn't like parent-child a very fundamental property? Like, how are you guys
That is, of
managing
course,
without?
along this many long discussions. What is core? What really needs to be in? What needs to be in
Yeah.
an extension? And then we even have extended extensions. And
Okay.
yeah, that is a little confusing. And in the end, it's slightly arbitrary what we moved into the node property directly, what into an extension bag, and which of these extension bags are considered core extension bags and which are extended. By the way,
Interesting.
maybe we should merge extension and spec just for sake of simplicity.
Yeah. Yep. But yeah, what you're pointing out, Dex, that parent-child seems like something that is a core attribute. That's basically, I think, the conclusion that we're slowly coming to, but we're working through the ramifications of, which is we've been using this parent-child as a notion for inheritance, to be able to inherit properties, and I'm not sure that, yeah. Uh,
Interesting. I mean, I'm interested in
mhm.
knowing like how are you guys working without the parent-child extension for like some applications because maybe I don't know enough, but um, I was like, how would that even work without parent-child extension? I'm just wondering, thinking about that.
How would it work without it? I can
Yeah.
give some examples of that. So for example, back to my canvas, here we go. So for example, um, in a standard, um, TL canvas, there really aren't any parent-child relations. So um, you can draw and write and all that kind of stuff. But the way that things are related, there's like uh, this thing points to a thing, but it doesn't necessarily imply like a parent-child relationship. And then um, you can also create groups. Um, but again, those aren't really parent-child relationships. Uh, they're just a set of things that are together,
Okay,
but
yeah.
there's no clear parent in that thing.
Okay, I actually kind of get it now. Teardrop, there's like no
Cool.
parent-child relationship at all. Like,
Not not that I know of.
oh, okay.
Yeah, there's
I was just
yeah.
talking to like the Teardrop founders, and
Hmm.
I discussed about some of the like if you have a parent-child relationship, it's potential. Like if you have the syncing needs to be a little bit more nuanced, mainly because it can cause
Yes.
cycles if you don't handle syncing properly. They were talking about it, and it's like they were saying that yeah, cycles can take place, but I didn't actually figure out how, where is that parent-child relationship in Teardrop. So yeah,
I mean, I don't know the
interesting.
tail draw docs inside and out, and it could be that they represent some things internally as parent-child relationships, but yeah, I haven't seen it as like a, oh, here we go, state node parent. Oh, this is their state modeling thing.
Yeah,
Um,
even I didn't figure it out properly myself.
yeah,
Yeah.
interesting. What in the world? A state node implements a partial. Huh. I'm not sure what the difference is between a state node. Maybe that is their node. Yeah, I have to look at it. I guess conceptually, you can imagine that it looks like they do have some sort of parent-child thing in here. I wonder what they use it for. I'd have to look at some of their exports to understand
I personally
how
never
they use
figured it out how they're like using parent-child.
it. Yeah,
So
I mean, because conceptually, you can think of a canvas like this without using the concept
yeah, it
of
does make sense. Yeah, it
yeah,
does make sense what you're
doesn't
trying
need
to
a
say.
parent
I
node.
get it.
But now we're starting to see, yeah, these different cases where parent-child is really important. One of the ones is that Aaron Frank works on GLTF, which is a file format within the Godot engine, which is a 3D editor and 3D engine. And that format, in 3D space, you have scene graphs, and scene graphs always have all the nodes are always related into that. They're tied into that graph somehow. So every node has a parent except for the root node. And so those, in that case, the idea of just having an arbitrary block of text that's not related to anything else other than the top level canvas itself was kind of strange. And so what we decided there was for canvases like TL where you don't necessarily need a parent-child relationship, this block of text, if there is no root node defined, then there's an implicit root node that this block of text is the child of, even though it doesn't specify it. And what that allows us to do is set the transforms for the canvas on this root node. That can then all of the nodes inherit from that transform tree. Anyway,
What's the transform tree? Sorry.
um, so things like zoom level and rotation and scale and basically everything is part of like a 3D, 2D or 3D set of transforms so that you know
Got it.
how to render this guy. Um,
You need the root node to be able to figure those stuff out, I guess.
well, you don't need it, but if you want to do anything fancy, you do. It's not a, let me see, do I have a
Interesting.
spec? If you want to modify the zoom or modify something about the transform, you will need to override it. Um, And so we actually, as we were looking at how to represent, allowing you to um, modify the scale and that kind of stuff, which some canvases actually do this kind of stuff, where they'll have like rotation defined on a group, and then everything it's in the rotation defined on a top level node that a bunch of nodes are related to, and then you rotate that top level node, and all the things within it rotate as
Oh,
well.
I got it.
Um,
Yeah, I got
yeah,
it.
And so you really want to store that rotation on the top level node, not on each individual node. So
Yeah,
yeah, this transforms or chainable thing. So yeah, that
makes
led
perfect
us,
sense.
as we walked all the way back up, we were like, oh man, we need to define what the base transform is for the entire canvas so that you can then be able to calculate all the children's transforms. So yeah.
But given all this recap, pages are much more like containers and members than parent-child. You don't inherit anything from your page. You are on a page. The page is more your container than your parent, I would say.
Mm-hmm. You were really quiet for the first part of that sentence. Were you saying that we might go? Can you restate what the very first part you said?
It feels that pages are more like containers and
Yes.
not like parents.
Yep. I'm kind of coming to that conclusion as well, and that they're closer to groups, like we were talking about a second ago.
Yeah, groups, group and members,
Groups and members, exactly, because there's no necessary relationship between a child and a parent. There's no necessary inheritance there as well. What if we were to use groups for that?
We would still need a page extension to mark which nodes are considered pages.
Right.
But that's and maybe a page number, but that's about it. What's really needed for the beginning.
So would that page extension it would be a relation extension rather than a node, because we've talked about how nodes are typically visual or visible, or would it be a node extension? No, it could be.
But the page itself is like a rectangle. It is a node. That's the clue. So of course it is a node extension then.
Okay. Yeah, you could visualize it.
Yeah.
Mm.
And that is cool because then we can say that our canvas node, our root node,
Mhm.
is a group which contains all its pages. And that is a nice fallback for non-page handling canvases like this infinity map, where you would just zoom into your page. It's not
Can you say
knowing.
that first part again? We would make our canvases, which
Let's say you are a page app like PowerPoint, but you are really cool because you speak OCIF. So when you export your PowerPoint to OCIF, you create a canvas root node. You call it maybe PowerPoint, I don't know. And then you create page nodes and give them a layout so that they are visually placed like thumbnail view within the PowerPoint node. And then you open the same map again in Infinity Maps. Infinity Maps has no concept of pages, ignores the pages extension, but you see all the nice thumbnails anyway, can zoom into each of them, can even edit them. If Infinity Maps is cool, it preserves the pages extension, and you can import back to PowerPoint and see the slides being changed. That would be a nice story.
So what's the diff between what we had started to map out here? You said the canvas.
Instead of child, we now converged on member.
Right.
But besides that, and a nice app would maybe, give the pages a nice position in the canvas, an actual layout. But page 1 and page 2 would definitely be visual nodes.
And they
Otherwise,
would be visual nodes with a canvas, with a page extension.
Yeah, exactly.
Interesting. What would be, okay, interesting. Yeah, for canvases that don't support the page extension, then the fallback there is they would actually be showing the pages, just may not be a problem.
If the pages have a reasonable layout that's somehow displayable.
Yeah.
Which is a bit of a stretch, but Maybe an OCIF tool could say, okay, I can always auto add a pages layout because that's a trivial thing to do. You have one box and put the other boxes inside.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it's almost like there's another page that is the pages page that has all of the pages laid out on it, right?
Yeah,
It's like
yeah,
the index.
yeah, yeah. The overview.
Mm-hmm. Okay. And so we're talking about using a group relation
Yeah,
between
I
these
think so.
guys.
Yeah.
Okay. Whoops. And also between the root node and the pages themselves? Are these in a group? Like,
Yeah.
here's one group. Um, another group. And then these are grouped.
Maybe it's not necessary, but somehow it feels right.
Well, yeah. I mean, otherwise these aren't going to be related to each other.
Yeah, so
Or they'll be the implicit parent node relationship like we talked about up here. This case.
yeah,
Actually, this is still a possibility. You could do this. Watch this. So you could say these are the members of this member, and then this is the group. And then this,
yeah,
I mean, this works.
yeah,
These still have an implicit relationship to, like an implicit
yeah,
child relationship to that, but that's fine. That doesn't hurt anything because we're not leveraging the parent-child
yeah.
relationship here. Sorry.
Yeah, but what are you getting at?
That we don't need so many groups. We don't need to group the root. We don't need to group the root node and the pages themselves.
Mm, yeah, okay.
We don't even need a root node necessarily. You could have one, but it's totally optional.
If we want to have this visual index, then we need some node to. No, not
Sort of.
even then. Not even then. You're right. Now I get what you're saying. Yeah. We just have pages at top level,
Uh-huh.
and they have a nice position on the screen, on the canvas.
Hmm.
That's it. Yeah, that's even more elegant. Yeah.
Yeah, there's all this stuff that's like we don't even need to define, right? Because this is all the dotted stuff is implicit. This guy is technically a different thing. It's not implicit. It is actually a group. Um, and this is actually, oh, interesting.
But
This
now
is a
you need to
group
add a.
relation, but
Yeah.
this is a page with a page extension, a
Yeah.
node. So you need both. It's a combo.
E- Well, you don't even need the group, but in a normal, most users would probably expect a group. I mean, like in PowerPoint, if you move a slide, you cannot move a slide in PowerPoint, but
Hmm.
if then the stuff on the slide doesn't move with it,
Yep. Be weird.
would be a bit weird, but
Yeah.
possible, possible. You don't, I mean, the important thing is that with these pages is to, I know, wait a second. If I'm exporting this back to PowerPoint,
Hmm.
what what am I assuming should be on the page visually? And then we can do it like TL draw, stuff that's positioned physically in 2D on the same spots is meant to be there. And this page more or less defines like a camera, what to export, like in very implicit group.
Uh-huh.
Or you could make it explicit with our group relation. Both would work. But then you run into stuff like clipping. What if you
Yep.
cut a rectangle? Is it meant to be included or not? Maybe. But if you are more explicit using a group, yes, it's meant or not.
Right. Yeah, because groups are logical, not
Yeah,
uh
yeah.
it's saying these three things are in a group together. Um In fact, this member thing is not even right. It's not a point at another node. That's not how it
Yeah,
works.
it's a
It's
relation
just
that
this.
points to.
Yep. In fact, I'm going to go
Yeah,
update.
yeah, yeah.
I'm going to go update this other diagram too. These arrows don't exist.
Well,
boom, boom. Yeah, interesting.
but you are right that in this diagram on the bottom, we don't need the group on the pages again, because
Mhm.
there we just really don't need the logic, and we don't even need the root node.
Yeah, yeah. It's more like this. We don't need the group node. We don't need the root node. I should add another page to this to make it clear that
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
there's two of these guys, but let me see.
So page
Oh,
extension
interesting.
would say you should use groups, but you don't have to.
Right. Yep. And because of our group semantic, you can actually have a node that's in both.
Of course,
Yeah.
finally.
Yeah, which is like what we were discussing at the beginning as a
Yeah.
desirable characteristic, not a necessary one. So we could have node 5 here that's in both of these. And this is an implicit root node and implicit relationships. Okay. Interesting. All right, Max, I leave it to you to write it up.
That's the usual way.
Exactly. Well, I do have a recording of this on Grain. I forgot to hit the Zoom record button, but I've been using Grain at work, and it jumped into this meeting accidentally. So I was like, all right, well, here we go. So I'll get the transcript from it if in case that's helpful.
Yeah, this image is very helpful already.
Good. Yeah, this is the way my brain works. This is probably why I ended up working on an interoperable standard for canvases because my brain is very, very visual. So any problem that I can represent as a visual solution, I can probably eventually turn it into prose. Group 1, group 2.
And what do we need in a page extension? A page number, a page title?
Mm-hmm. Yes, both.
And that's it?
I think so. Yeah, I think the one challenge here is what do you draw? Where is the page node represented for canvases? Like, how are we going to make this the fallback for this? Because I think what we'll end up with is like each of these pages has a coordinate space that is probably overlapping, right? Like imagine taking this particular OCW, this TGI, TL draw canvas and collapsing all of these pages on top of each other.
Ah, yeah. But
That's
these are
what
just,
a canvas would do if it didn't understand pages.
no. The relative coordinates would be the same, but they would be relative to their page object. And the page objects themselves, the page nodes, they need different positions. That is the crux. The
Well, then
pages
now
should
you're
not be on top.
describing parent-child again, it feels like.
Yeah, how exactly is relative nodes defined?
Oh, that's right. This is like a relatively new, relatively new thing that I don't have in my brain.
Maybe that's part of the transforms to have relative positions. I think we merged it in there.
Mm-hmm.
So you would say my position, yeah, I think yeah, you have your offset. My position is defined by an offset from my parent.
Mm-hmm.
So to make relative positioning work, but then we are again back with the problem which you did observe, because node 5,
Mm-hmm.
if it's placed relative to its parent, Node 5 needs sort of two positions to it's
like an electron. It has like superposition relative to like the most relative neutron or whatever.
yeah.
Mm.
That's a good
All right.
example where this pages idea breaks down a bit.
Yes, this is a good example. All right. Okay.
So relative position doesn't work, yeah, because if we have two, you cannot have two parents.
Mm-hmm.
So you cannot be relative to two different things. So in that regard,
Wait, okay, so one quick clarification. Actually, I gotta run to another meeting here in just a second. So one thing I'm observing, the page extension lives on this node, but how
yeah.
does node 3, other than using group 2, we said the groups were kind of optional. I don't think they are, because how would node 3 know which group it belongs to? I'm sorry, which page it belongs to? Unless the
Well,
page extension listed all nodes.
well, we have groups, but in groups you can have multiple parents. The problem is node 5. Node 5 has two groups to which it belongs.
Does this have a group ID that it refers to? Or like a rel ID or something like that? Or
This doesn't work.
okay.
Look, node 5 has two parents.
Yep.
Not parents, two nodes, two groups. Node 5 has
Yep.
two groups.
Yes.
So it cannot have a relative position to two different things.
That's right.
That doesn't
But
work. It can only have one
relative
position.
positions are not defined according to groups, though, just as a reminder.
They are
That's a
defined according
separate
to
extension.
parents.
That's right.
And you can only have one parent. So
This is true.
So this relative positioning doesn't work for nodes in two groups or two pages.
Yeah.
So that
Agreed.
implies pages might be something different. Or
Yes.
nodes cannot be on different pages. A
This is
page could
probably
also
a
be
reasonable
something like
fallback.
a page could be something like a layout. It says, I'm a page, I'm layouting stuff, I give everything on my page a position. But then it's completely different from a canvas. Because in a
Yeah, I think
canvas,
the
the
other
node
thing we
itself.
should, as we're tackling this, the other related concept here is layer. Layer is a very similar concept.
Is layer not much easier? Why is layer different from group at all?
Oh, yeah, that's right. We did talk about you should use groups for layers. Okay, never mind. Yep.
Layers seem okay.
I do need to run to another meeting though.
Okay, maybe we will have more thoughts on pages next time.
Thanks
We
for
made
breaking my
good
brain,
progress.
Max. Yeah.
Same here.
Dex, it was great having you.
Yeah, it was nice going to the meeting. I'll definitely try to join next time too.
Cool. Sounds good. And yeah, as you're digging into stuff, feel free to comment in Discord. We're all pretty active there. And yeah, if you have questions, that's a great place to find us in between meetings.
I'm interested in finding a tree relationship because the author, like I talked to TLDraw guys at the local first conf, they did tell me that there is a child-parent relationship somewhere in the TLDraw document, and I could make a cycle and crash the application. That's something I'm interested in doing,
Very
but
cool.
I don't know how the how the tree relationship is where it is. But yeah, that's about it. It's really fun
Great.
talking to you. I'll definitely try to
Great.
join regularly.
Cool.
Yeah,
And
Thanks.
I found it really interesting that the canvasprotocol.org, the website, you guys were inspired by Braid.org. Michael Tumian told me that.
Oh, cool. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yes, we were. Exactly. No, I almost like
Um,
directly copied the grain
yeah,
website.
that
Yep.
was really fun. That was really fun to hear that. Yeah, that's a luck,
Very cool.
guys.
Cool.
Definitely
Thanks.
will join next time too.
Talk soon. Bye.
cool. See
Bye.
you.